All right, so on to recommendations and commendations. Tonight we are going to recognize Matt Riley, our Athletics and Community Education Director. I'm going to read the certificate, then you come up here. Athletics Director and Community Education Director at Menominee High School for his outstanding leadership, professionalism, and dedication to our school district and community. He coordinates and continually enhances the Fieldhouse schedule, managing a wide range of activities while maintaining clear communication and a welcoming environment for all. Through his efforts, the Fieldhouse has become a valued space where students, families, community members of all ages can come together to stay active, build connections, and support one another. Matt's passion and commitment are evident in all he does, making him a valued member of the Menominee community. I also just wanted to add, we had a really effusive email from a community member.
That's exactly how we know.
Oh, okay. That much of this information came from, but I couldn't agree more with it. So thank you so much, Matt.
Thank you. Appreciate it. Thank you.
And we are going to very sadly recognize Amber Kirsting, who was having her very last board, I shouldn't say sadly, but having her very last board meeting with us tonight. Amber, thank you so much. This was presented with gratitude for your 3 years of dedicated service, leadership, and commitment to students and the community of the SDMA. All right, moving on to our April highlight on youth.
So for our highlight on youth this month, we're going to have Knapp Elementary School Principal Shannon Branch present to the board. So Mrs. Branch, take it away.
Yeah, thank you for having me. So a lot of great things to highlight this month. Menominee High School, they started out with a trip over spring break. So the World Language Department took a trip to Costa Rica, which included a wonderful community service project at a local school there. Also, the Menominee High School boys basketball team, the varsity team, advanced to the sectional final. So as a parent of one of those players, it was a really unique experience for them, and I think just really fun for them and their fans. Senior Madeline Horvath, is that correct? She was honored by the Rotary Club of Menominee for her volunteer work throughout the community. And also the high school juniors and seniors supported and interacted with the 5th grade students during a recent kindness retreat. And you're gonna see that highlighted throughout the slideshow as well. At the middle school, the 8th grade science students attended and participated at the Red Cedar Watershed Conference over at Scout. Members of the student council were outdoors and thanking the bus drivers during testing week, as well as welcoming their students to have a positive day. The student council members also attended a Milwaukee Bucks game where they received the Spirit of Excellence Award. Over at Knapp, we highlighted quite a few pictures of our Title I Family Engagement event. So we entitled it Breakfast of Champions. We partnered with food service and they offered a really wonderful breakfast for our families and students. And then we had cross-curricular activities set up throughout the school. So the parents were able to start the day with their children and do everything from fine arts to math and science and literacy. Just a really positive way to start the day and to partner with our families. Mr. Betcher came with his regular spring visit with us to tap our maple trees. So we partnered again with Todd Thompson in order to cook our sap into syrup, and we'll be able to serve that to our students this spring. And then also our school counselor, Bretta Snyder, organized an escape room for our students that are engaging in that Wisconsin forward testing. Over at Oaklawn, we had our 5th grade students participating in the kindness retreat, and that was district-wide, so Knapp as well as River Heights and Wakanda were there as well. We sent all of our 5th graders, and then Knapp also sent their 4th graders, just since we were a little bit of a smaller class size. So those were all-day events put on by Youth Frontiers, and we had an amazing group of high school students that came both days to help lead those activities. Oakland also hosted a night over at Culver's, so they partnered with that organization in order to do some fundraising efforts. And their Lion leaders were the students that were over there with that event. At River Heights, you get to see a few more photos from that kindness retreat and those high school leaders that helped us with that event, as well as students teaming up for relay races at their last month Roadrunner Rally. So that's kind of their all-school meetings that they have. And lastly, Wakanda. So they were able to welcome back one of their students who's been battling cancer. And they partnered with some wonderful community organizations with the school resource officers and the Menominee Police Department, as well as the fire department, welcoming back to school as a school community as well. Their 4th and 5th graders also showcased their talents in the Rock Through the Ages concert, and then also some photographs from that kindness retreat, really building on empathy and support for one another. Any questions that you have? Thank you for your time.
Yeah, thank you so much. There were a lot of excellent pictures in there tonight. So everybody take a look at that because there's even more photos than usual. Our student representatives have requested to stay home tonight due to the weather concerns. So we are going to miss student representative communications. Yes, go ahead.
Yeah, I want to take a moment to, if I could, to talk about Science Olympiad, unless there's some else. Yeah, so this wasn't in the list, so I think it's worth mentioning. So this weekend was the 4th and 5th grade Science Olympiad across all of the K-5 schools. There's an amazing event held at the middle school. One thing that was really neat about it is that the senior Science Olympiad team were there as their final event as Science Olympians to hand out their ribbons to the 4th and 5th graders. So we have this transition of the generation from the seniors graduating with this amazing Science Olympiad team and bequeathing that legacy onto the 4th and 5th graders starting at. So I just want to mention that was a great event, and thanks to everyone involved.
Yes, I also was there, and it was really wonderful and chaotic and all kinds of great things. And it's really wonderful to see a lot of those high school students also volunteer to run the competitions, and it's just a really fabulous event. All right, sorry I moved on from that so quickly. As mentioned, we are not going to have student representative communications. Okay. So the student representative communications is in writing. I'm not going to read it. Okay, great. I don't it's very long, but everybody should take a look at it because it's full of great things. So we'll move on to community communications. We've got one speaker tonight, Mike Cooper.
Thank you. What a nice name for it, understand. At the school board candidate forum, 2 things came to mind. Virtually everyone there was either gray or white haired. The audience, the women voters and the candidates, with the exception of 2 candidates and a young family behind me. I'm not sure what to make of it, but it gives me pause to see so few parents involved in what you are all, and that you would all be concerned about that as well. And that just bothered me. Anyway, second, during the forum, 2 of the candidates and sitting members of this board both made comments about the importance of teaching history to students. And yet I've come here before the body to encourage celebrating the creation of the most important political statement ever created. No other document has so clearly stated the rights of man as granted by God, not government, and the role government should play in protecting those rights. The Declaration of Independence is head and shoulders above any other political document ever created. It has influenced many other nations that believe in democracy. And yet, there seems to be no interest in this board in celebrating such a wonderful gift to America and the world. Is this not a golden opportunity to teach American history? If it isn't, I don't know what is. Thank you.
All right, and I apologize, there's just one more speaker, so you can come on ahead, Cynthia Welch.
Okay. I did not attend the scholarship selection committee that was held on the 7th, for which I apologize. I should have. As faculty member or staff member did attend and told me that the decision was made to present the alumni awards at the high school awards program. She didn't also been informed that that decision hasn't been made. I'm speaking to that decision. I know it's been offered before, and I said no. The Alumni Awards have been presented at graduation since they were established in 1914, a long history. They are comparable to the new Outstanding Alumni Award that is presented at graduation. The comment was made that the amount of the scholarship was not very large, $500 to $1,000 per person. We select a boy and girl, or one adults. The account is made up by contributions, is donated by classes, usually at the time of class reunion. Originally based on the qualifications for the Rhodes Scholarships, the medal award requirements were modified somewhat at the annual meeting of the association in 1936. The association felt that it is within its right to withhold the alumni award at any time if, in the opinion of the committee, there is no candidate or candidates in the graduating class who measure up to the high school requirements of the award. The Alumni Award has been presented annually since 1914 to one young man and one young woman from the graduating class. These awards are made by the Menominee High School Alumni Association, which all alumni of the high school are considered members. There is no membership application or dues. Basis for the award are one boy in the top 10 overall boys in the senior class based on scholastic average through their entire high school work. One girl in the top 10 overall girls in the senior class based on the same criteria. They have demonstrated leadership skills, they are sound character, and they are to be involved in extracurricular activities at school in the community. They must display personal traits of character such as leadership and honesty together with other qualities which indicate the award winners will be a credit to their community. Only seniors who have been in attendance at Menominee High School for a full 2 years prior to graduation are eligible for this award. Requirements are based on the following criteria for selection: scholarship, 40%, character, 30%, leadership, 20%, extracurricular activities, 10%. Since 1978, in addition to the medal award, the recipients have received a monetary scholarship annually ranging in value over the years from 100 to 1,000. Usually it's been around 500 to 1,000. Could have been a table. I wasn't in a hurry. The amount available for the scholarship is solely dependent on donations traditionally coming from preceding MHS classes, raised and donated primarily through class reunions. The amount of each award depends on the amount donated each year.
I'm sorry to interrupt you, my timer was silent.
Okay,
But
well,
that was
I almost done, and you will have it on record.
Okay, thank you.
I understand.
All right, thank you so much. And my computer went to sleep, but we are now going to look at our revenue and expenditure reports for the month ended March 2026.
Yeah, so as usual, I'm starting with the revenue report. Property tax collections continue to come in as expected. You can see that the levy revenue increased from about 5.8 million in February into March, 8.2 million, which reflects the normal timing of those payments during this part of the year. Also on the revenue side, as I mentioned last month, admissions continue to perform well, even from last month. We are now at approximately 139,000 collected year to date, which is, as you can see, about 10,000 over budget. It is also worth noting, as Joe mentioned last time, that spring activities do typically generate less admissions revenue, so I would not expect that number to increase significantly for the remainder of the year. Then looking at the expenditures by object, overall spending remains aligned with expectations. One item that stands out this month is equipment and hardware, which increased to about $943,000 year to date, which is 75% of the budget. This is primarily due to the Chromebook purchase for the middle and high school, which is now being recognized then in this March period. Finally, looking at the expenditures by function, one area to note is the operations, maintenance, and facilities. The category has increased to about 71% of the budget compared to mid-60s range last month and last year. This reflects more timing issues and operational and facility-related costs tend to be recognized more heavily as the year progresses. So those are the main items I wanted to highlight this month.
Thank you so much. Any questions or discussion on the revenue and expenditure reports? All right, seeing none. We'll move on to, we have our monthly employment report. This is an informational report. Does anyone have questions or discussion? Great. Next up, our consent agenda. I'll entertain a motion to approve the consent agenda.
So
I'm second.
Motion by Dale, second by Emily. Tonight we have the minutes from our board meeting of March 9th, 2026. Financial reports, general fund checks totaling $2,770,517.32. And cash receipts totaling $2,252,600.29. For donations exceeding $1,000, we had $2,216 donated to Menominee High School Athletics by the Betty Geshy Fund, which is a fund of the Community Foundation of Dunn County, and $1,957 from the Anne Marie Foundation, including a grant of $252 for the purchase of lap desks, magnetic tiles, and writing tablets in Oak Lawn Elementary School, and $1,705 for story cards for the library at Rights. Any questions or discussion on the consent agenda? All right, let's vote. And motion passes unanimously. Next up, we have the personnel consent agenda. I'll entertain a motion to approve the personnel consent agenda.
Motion Dupree. Second.
Motion by Michelle, second by Amber. Tonight we have 4 resignations, and no new hires at this time. Any questions or discussion on the personnel consent agenda? All right, seeing none, let's vote. Motion passes unanimously. On to the action agenda. First, we have an action to approve our 4K programming agreements. Entertain a motion.
Amy moves.
I'll second.
Motion by Amy, second by Dale. Any questions or discussion? Has there anything changed from when we discussed these in March?
There's that.
All right, if there's no questions or discussion, let's vote. And motion passes unanimously. All right, next up, we have an action to approve the staffing plan for 2026-27. I'll entertain a motion.
Motion Dupree.
Second?
Motion by Michelle, second by Abe. Do you want to cover any of the minor changes we saw since last time?
Sure, I'd like to point out, and we talked about this last time, this is the base staffing plan. Every year, there'll be a staffing plan approved, and then throughout the year, we will be bringing the board recommendations if we need to add to the staffing plan. For instance, we have a lead team meeting tomorrow, and we'll be reviewing the enrollment for next year, and we'll continue to do that, and if we feel like class sizes are such where another teacher may be needed, we'll bring that back to the board for your approval. So this is the base staffing plan. You saw this a month ago. I will say that there are a few cleanup items we put towards the end, a couple classification changes, but I think it's pretty well set. Sam, did you have anything you wanted to add at all?
Nope, I think it's covered.
Okay, thank you.
Any questions either on the new changes that we saw since March? Yeah, go ahead.
I'm just still a little concerned about the head counselor at the high school being, down. I'll approve, but I think that we need to make a close watch on that because our strategic plans has been about, and I think going from 4 to 3.5 could be detrimental. I don't know, we'll see how it works. Thanks.
Yeah, I assume that's something that we can get, maybe a mid-year update on, or, let's see how things are playing out. Any other questions or discussion about the staffing plan as a whole, or any of the changes? All right, let's vote. And motion passes unanimously. Next up, we have an action to approve a digital storage solution. I'll entertain a motion.
Motion to approve the digital storage solution bid as presented.
I'll second.
Wait, and with Katie not here, are you going to take up this?
Yes, I'd be happy to. And this is a little bit of a unique item. Board members, you saw this as part of the 30-year capital improvement plan that was presented to you and approved in January. Also the project list for 2026. And typically that approval is all that would be needed to move forward with the project. This is a rare instance though where the estimate in the plan was less than the actual bid. So because the bid came in higher than than the approval that was previously given, we bring this back to the board to let you know that. I do think it's a combination of things after talking with Katie. One, the prices of these technology hardware items continue to escalate faster than inflation. Also, we may have been a little low with our estimate at the time. Regardless, this is something that's needed for our schools in order to keep all of our digital storage secure and organized. So it is recommended the board approve this.
Any questions or discussion? All right, then let's vote.
And thank you, board members, for not making me try to explain what a hyper-converged digital storage station is.
All right, motion passes unanimously even in the absence of such a description. On to our discussion agenda. Dominique on the phone. Our first item is the clerk's report on the results of the spring election. Would you like to make that report or would you like me to read it?
I think I can do it.
Okay, take it away.
So the Board of Canvassers met on Friday, April 10th in the boardroom of the Administrative Service Center, and they reviewed the results of the spring election. The canvassers, the members included Lisa Keys, Carly Price, and Deputy Clerk Jenny Michael. The 5 candidates that appeared on the ballot, the top 3 vote totals were Dale Dahlke at 3,902, Amy Little Swanson, 3,656, and Jay Edinburgh at 3,174. And then Tillman, with following with 2,119, and Eliason following with 1,858. So following the official canvas, Dale Galkey, Amy Little Swanson, and Jay Edinburgh were declared elected to the school board.
Thank you very much for doing that. And congratulations, Amy and Dale, on your reelection. And thank you to everybody who ran. And any questions or discussion on the clerk's report? Yes, sorry, so our new school board member, Jay Edenborg, as well as our incumbents, will officially take office for the next term on April 27th, when we will have our reorganization meeting.
Just so you know, Gail and I came a little early and we signed our oath of office, and I even read mine out loud.
Nice. Do you have to read it out loud? I'm glad you did though. Did anyone film it? All right. If there's no additional discussion or questions, we will move on to a discussion of development planning options for the Downsville School site. And we have a special guest here tonight.
We do. We have the executive director from Dunn Economic Development, Adam Akala. Adam, you've been in your position for over a year now, is it?
Yeah, a little over a year and a half now.
Okay, and I've had the opportunity to attend several meetings, economic development meetings, and I've been super impressed with Adam and the work that he's provided, the leadership he's provided with the economic development group. So Adam, thank you. I reached out to Adam after the board discussion talking about Downsville Elementary School. And just to bring everyone up to speed, if you recall, we had a committee that reviewed possibilities for Downsville Elementary School. And the same barriers that we saw as a school district were evident in really making it difficult to try to come up with some sort of instructional solution to use that facility as an instructional site. And we went into a lot of detail, and I know the board discussed that quite a bit earlier in the spring. At that point, the board directed administration, Brian had kind of chaired that committee, to look at other alternatives for the site. And at that point, I reached out to Adam, and Adam has a lot of experience with economic development and engaging the community. And that was one thing that we knew, hearing from the board's directive, that we wanted to continue to engage the community. So with that being said, I'm gonna turn it over to Adam, and he's gonna talk a little bit about potential opportunities for the Downsville Elementary School site. And then I think it would be great for the board members to be able to ask Adam some questions. So Adam, again, thank you for being here, and take it away.
Yeah, of course. Just a quick little background on my position for those of you that don't know. I'm the Director of Economic Development for Dunn County. So I'm funded through the City of Menominee and Dunn County, and I'm employed by UW South, so that it creates a stable position for me to work out of. But I don't work on behalf of South, I work on behalf of the city and the county for economic development. And so I'm not a developer, I'm a resource for all of you, for our community, for elected officials and local governments to make sure that we're making smart investment decisions and developing how we want to see this county develop. So when Joe reached out, the first thing that I did was kind of just looked at some various projects in rural areas of Wisconsin to see kind of what some adaptive reuse of school buildings has been. And there was everything from housing to childcare to light manufacturing, where school buildings have been reutilized for alternative uses outside of just classroom and instructional capacity for their buildings. A few of the things that kind of came up in this is the preparation of site and the feasibility of any particular project that might occur. With Downsville being a rural area, it probably isn't the best idea to put a shopping mall there, for example. A bunch of micro retail might be really cool and be a cool idea, but the population of Downsville might not be what could sustain that type of an operation. Also, zoning is something that we need to consider when we are looking at what can actively be used in the area. The City of Menominee has its own town of Dunn, follows Dunn County's zoning. So we are looking at county zoning for what we could be able to do there. And it's currently zoned R2, which allows for so that's residential 2, allowing for single family or 2-family duplex housing. So if we wanted to look at anything beyond that kind of housing scope, we'd also have to look at what it would look like to rezone that property. Then we also talk about funding. Projects can't go forward unless there is unless there are some dollars involved. And so how do we do that with a combination of state programming, local programs that we may have access to, things that the school district may be uniquely able to apply for that a municipality or a nonprofit may not be able to. And so all those things were kind of things that I found just an initial, like, here are some ideas and what we could do. Then I went and took a tour of the facility just to kind of see what it looked like, and from there, Joe kind of asked me who could take us through this work. And so through that, I reached out to Cedar Corp locally, engineering and planning firm that has a local office here and has offices all along the 29 corridor all the way over to Green Bay. And I also reached out to Redevelopment Resources, which is located over in the Wausau area that specifically focuses on redevelopment projects. Both kind of agreed that some recommended pre-work for this particular project would be looking at a highest and best use market analysis. So this would be an analysis of the entire property, the building itself, and any surrounding grounds, and what the highest and best use for that property would be. Whether it would be adding residential housing, whether it would be converting the existing building into something that could be usable long-term, and kind of what that project plan could look like. We'd also want to be looking at the environmental site analysis of this, and making sure that there are no known contaminants to the site and things that would require remediation once we start either digging into the ground or moving walls of the building itself. Things like asbestos would come out in an assessment like that. And then also just assessing political feasibility of any sort of project by engaging with the Downsville community, the ones that would be most directly impacted by what was going on in their backyard, making sure that there's some local buy-in to kind of what's ultimately going on there. So based on this, there are kind of three paths that I see for this particular project. One would be to treat this as a traditional real estate transaction. We find a commercial realtor, we list it on the open market, we find a buyer, we sell to the buyer. Pros of that one is that there's the potential for the quickest and highest return on investment, as far as we wouldn't necessarily need to pay a broker much more than the 5 to 6% that they would take in commission fees. It would also require the least amount of kind of hands-on work by the district itself and the least amount of capacity. But the cons of doing that would be that we don't have as much control over what that ultimate development would be. It could end up being purchased by a private charter school and become a direct competitor of the Menominee School District. And so that's where we kind of got to figure out where the investment that we want to put into the project versus the return that we're hoping to get either monetarily or based on community need is important. Option number two would be kind of a slight hands-on project where we would develop a request for proposals, and based on that highest and best use analysis, say what we would like to see there, whether it is a housing complex that